The walking excavator is what we use to traverse and stabilize and mow the canals in the various locations. It's a very specialized piece of equipment with a specialized skill set for the operators. They were originally designed to operate on the side of mountains, but there's been uses to find them and to be used within swamps and canals. Its main role is to traverse into the canal to remove the sediment that's been washed away from the banks and into the bottom of the canal and re-establish that onto the banks. We got to bring the wet dirt from the bottom, set it on top, let it dry a little bit, and then it gets repacked into the banks to recontour and also to open up the capacity of the canal. Once that is complete, then we come back and either a time frame of the job starting to stopping, either Mother Nature has started to grow grass back through. If that is not the case, then we will actually order sod to be laid down to help ensure that the dirt that's been repacked stays in place.
Good morning. Could you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to the October 27th, 2025 Land Use Hearing Officer hearing. My name is Susan Finch, and I'll be presiding as the hearing officer over today's cases. Let me start by introducing Ms. Colleen Marshall. She's with the Development Services Department. She'll introduce other staff members that will participate in today's hearing, as well as go over any off-the-agenda changes. Ms. Marshall.
Good morning, Colleen Marshall, Development Services. To my left is Mary Dorman of the Hillsborough County Attorney's Office, and to my right is Carmen Mason, Development Services staff. Over the course of the hearing, a number of staff planners will be presenting their findings for various cases and will be introduced for each item. There are two changes to the published agenda. The first change is agenda page 4, item A6, variance 25-1258. The applicant is Adam Powell. And this application is being withdrawn from the land use hearing officer process. The second change is agenda page 8, item I1, special use 24-1238. The applicant is Todd Pressman, and the applicant is requesting a continuance to the March 9th, 2026 land use hearing officer hearing.
Okay, thank you so much. Is the applicant here? I understand the applicant's virtual for that item requesting a continuance. Mr. Pressman?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, good morning.
Name and address.
Good morning. Todd Pressman, 200 2nd Avenue South, number 451 in St. Petersburg. Good morning, everyone. We are working very closely with a neighbor, and to be realistic, we believe it could take up to 6 months to address her concerns. In the record, which I submitted to Optics, is an email from that neighbor agreeing to the 6-month period.
All right, thank you so much. Is there anyone in the room or online that would like to speak to the continuance of this item, not the merits of the case, but only the continuance. All right, hearing no one. Mr. Pressman, is that Ms. Bronson, the neighbor?
What first name do you have, hearing officer?
Jennifer Bronson. She signed up to speak in opposition. I just was curious as to that
No.
neighbor. Okay.
No.
All right. Then with that, hearing no one to speak to the continuance in opposition, we'll grant it and continue special use SCH 24-1238 to the March 9th, 2026 hearing, land use hearing officer hearing at 9 a.m. All right, then with that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pressman. Then with that, we'll go back to the beginning of the hearing. And let me start by going over our procedures for today's hearing. Our hearing today consists of agenda items that require a public hearing by the land use hearing officer. I'll conduct a hearing on each agenda item and will file a decision within 15 business days following today's hearing. Our hearing today is informal. I'll ask questions related to the scope of direct testimony. I may call and question witnesses as I deem appropriate, and I will decide all questions of procedure. I'll take evidence, but will exclude evidence that is irrelevant, immaterial, or unduly repetitious. Evidence may be presented in written form, and all testimony must be under oath. Hearsay evidence may be used to supplement or explain other evidence, but shall not be sufficient alone to support a finding by me unless it would be admissible over objections in a civil action. Our order of presentation today is as follows. The Development Services Department will present their staff report and findings for a period of 5 minutes. They go first. We'll then go to the applicant. The applicant has a total of 15 minutes to make their request and presentation. Next up, proponents, anyone who would like to speak in favor of an application, everyone together, 15 minutes. Also next, when we go to opposition, anyone who would like to speak against an application, everyone combined, 15 minutes. We'll then go back to the Development Services Department to see if they have any comments or changes based on today's testimony. And then the last word is had by the applicant. The applicant has 5 minutes for rebuttal. All of our cases today are variances, and that will be the order, with the exception of the last case, which is a special use. And the only difference in presentation for that item is the applicant goes first, but otherwise it's the same. All right, with that, I don't think we'll have this issue because it seems like there's not very many people to speak, but when I call for people to speak in support or against an application, I will ask you to raise your hand. We have people both in the room and online participating. We'll get a count of how many people would like to speak either in favor or against, and we will divide that 15 minutes as equally as we can to give everybody a fair opportunity. When you are speaking, either in the room or online, if you could start by giving us your name and address for the record. We are recording this hearing, and we want to make sure we have your information correct. And if you're in the room and you're done at the podium, if you could see, we have a number of clerk office people here today. We have Jermaine, Jennifer, and Susan. All raise your hands. There they are. Okay. They are keeping a written log of who speaks. And so when you're done at the podium, if you could go over and sign in with your name, address, and the case number to which you spoke. All right, with that, let me now turn to Ms. Dorman. She's with the County Attorney's Office, and she will provide you the legal requirements for appealing a decision made by the Land Use Hearing Officer. Ms. Dorman.
Good morning, Mary Dorman from the County Attorney's Office. This Land Use Hearing Officer public hearing is for variance and special use requests. This is the time for interested parties to present evidence and testimony. Once the Land Use Hearing Officer has closed a case, the record of that case is also closed, and no new evidence regarding that case may be submitted thereafter. Any decision by the Land Use Hearing Officer may be appealed to the Land Use Appeals Board. Should a decision be appealed, the record evidence, including the testimony presented at this public hearing, shall be the only evidence that's subject to review by the Land Use Appeals Board. In reaching a final decision on petitions, the Land Use Appeals Board will only consider the decision of the Land Use Hearing Officer and the record evidence, including any evidence from this hearing. If an appeal is filed, the Land Use Appeals Board consists of oral argument by the party appealing the decision, county staff, and any interveners, each of whom may be represented by legal counsel. The following shall have standing to appeal a decision of the Land Use Hearing Officer or to intervene in an appeal: 1, the applicant, or 2, anyone who appeared before the land use hearing officer, presented testimony or other evidence, and is adversely affected by the decision of the land use hearing officer. It's the role of the county attorney's office to ensure that no new evidence or testimony, I'm so sorry, my computer is glitchy this morning. That no new evidence or testimony is allowed before the Land Use Appeals Board that was not presented to the Land Use Hearing Officer at today's hearing. The County Attorney's Office will recommend that the Land Use Appeals Board disregard evidence or testimony that is outside the record made at today's public hearing. Any evidence presented to the Land Use Appeals Board that is outside the record created at today's hearing could jeopardize the legality of the Land Use Appeals Board decision, and the presenter of that evidence could hurt their own cause. The safest course of action, then, is for you to write down any comments you make today and repeat them to the Land Use Appeals Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dorman. I appreciate it. As I mentioned, all testimony must be under oath. So if you plan to speak today, if you could please stand, raise your right hand, and I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you so much. Please have a seat. Then with that, Ms. Marshall, we are ready to call the first case.
Today's agenda, we have no vested rights, fee waivers, remands, or reconsideration requests, which brings us to Section F, Site Development Variance Requests. Item F1, Variance 25-1233. The applicant is William Malloy. The request is a variance to encroach into the wetland setback. Staff findings will be presented by Wayne Doyen.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Wayne Doyen, Hillsborough County Development Services. This is variance application 25-1233. Request summary. The applicant is requesting a variance from the 30-foot wetland conservation area setback requirement, section 4.01.07.b.4 of the Land Development Code. The applicant's specific request, as shown on the site plan submitted on 8/6/2025, is to allow encroachment for a second-story porch with support columns and stairs to be within the 30-foot wetland conservation area setback. Requested variance, LEC section 4.01.07.b.4, LEC requirement, no filling, excavating, or placement of permanent structures or other impervious surfaces shall be allowed within a required 30-foot wetland conservation area setback. Variance, 6.11 foot max encroachment for a second-story porch with support columns and stairs in the wetland conservation area setback. Result will be 23 feet, 1 inch, foot remaining setback.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Is
Yes,
the
ma'am.
applicant here?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, William Malloy, 325 South Boulevard, Tampa, Florida. This is hopefully a very straightforward request to allow for some minor improvements to be constructed within the 30-foot wetland setback. In this case, the improvements are new construction. It's a second-story porch that's proposed and an exterior stairwell to access it. I just want to reinforce they are proposed, not constructed, so we're here asking permission, not forgiveness. That permission, I hope, is not overly complicated. Our real impact to the dirt in question is going to be limited to that section of the support beams that actually touch the ground, and the fact that the second-story porch will actually shade that ground as opposed to it being, sunlit. We stand by the request as it's written up, including the variance criteria and justifications. And I'd like to add, this is entirely circumstantial to the case, but I'd be doing my client a disservice if I didn't mention that this lot is very complicated, as is this whole neighborhood. It was improperly subdivided at one point, so we're stepping in to clean that up a little bit. And this is the first step. There's also going to be an issue of bringing utilities to the lot and accounting for some of the uplands and wetland size. But this variance first, I'm here and happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Just one quick, I understand the request, just one minor thing. In reading the backup, the box under the question, have you been cited by code enforcement, is checked yes? Was there-
Incorrect. That's a
okay,
mistake.
so that's a mistake. Okay, perfect. That was my only question. Thank
Thank you so much.
Don't forget to sign in. All right, is there anyone in the room or online that would like to speak in support? Anyone in favor? Seeing no one, anyone in opposition to this request? No one. Ms. Marshall, anything else?
Nothing further.
All right,
Thank you.
Mr. Malloy, you have the last word if you'd like it. All right. Then with that, we'll close variance 25-1233 and go to the next case.
This brings us to section G, sign variance request. Item G1, variance 25-1206. The applicant is Nick Monty. The request is a variance to sign requirements. Staff findings will be presented by Michelle Montalbano.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning. The applicant is requesting variances for a residential entry sign for our multifamily development. Per LDC section 70300C1C, monument signs require a minimum setback of 15 feet from the front right-of-way line. That's for a sign with a minimum of 4 feet tall. And then every foot the sign is above 4 feet tall, an extra foot of setback is required along the front property line. So in this case, they are requesting a monument sign with a height of 8 feet tall, and that requires a front setback of 19 feet. Therefore, they are requesting a 9 feet for a setback of 10 feet from the front property line. In this case, is associated with an active building permit that was denied due to the setback encroachment. If you have any questions, let me know.
Just a quick one, if you know, from reading this, it's a request to replace an existing sign. Is this existing sign still there?
Yes, they're looking to replace it. It's in, I think, the same location that they were
That was my
proposing now.
question. Is the replacement in the same location to your
I
knowledge?
believe so, yes.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank
Is the applicant here? Good morning.
Good morning. Nick Monty, 6919 Bon Air Drive. Yes, so looking to replace a sign in the existing location with the same dimensions. With that said, recently there's been a lot of development in the area, which is blocking our entire property, and that existing area of where the sign is kind of allows people passing by to see the area. If we are required to set it back, it's going to cause lack of street view. And this is one of our first steps in our plan to further, develop our property with the painting and stuff. So appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I just had one question, the
Okay.
same as staff. So
Yeah.
the new sign will go where the old sign is
Correct.
currently located?
Correct.
All right, that's all I had.
All
Thank
right,
you so
thank
much.
you.
Don't forget to sign in.
Thank you very much.
All right, is there anyone in the room or online that would like to speak in support? Anyone in favor? No one. Anyone in opposition to this request? All right, Ms. Marshall, anything else?
Nothing further. Thank
Sir, you have the last word if you'd like it, but you don't have to take it. Okay, thank you. With that, we'll close variance 25-1206 and go to the next case.
This brings us to section H, variance requests. Item H1, variance 25-1288. The applicant is Alec Binzar. The request is a variance to lot development standards. Staff findings will be presented by Sierra James.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sierra James with Development Services. The applicant is requesting a variance to the rear and side yard setbacks to accommodate a duplex structure. The property is zone RDC 12. Per LDC section 60101, the minimum rear yard setback is 20 feet and the minimum side yard setback is 5 feet. The applicant is seeking a variance of 6 feet, resulting in a 14-foot rear yard setback, and a variance of 2 feet, resulting in a 3-foot side yard setback.
Just a quick question. In your findings, it talks about a permit that was issued by the county in 2022. Was the duplex built?
I believe the bottom structure, the base structure was built, and then they had to hold construction for another project that was happening down the road for a school. And then it was found that it was no longer, well, it wasn't meeting the development standards.
So the county issued the permit, they proceeded to build in accordance with that permit, and then later staff found that it was issued in error?
Yes, ma'am.
Understood. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Is the applicant here? Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, thank you. Okay. Good morning, Hearing Officer Finch, staff, members of the public. I am Roberta Meade Curry with National Property Reports, Tampa, Florida. I'm here representing the property owner, Alex Binzar, who is also present this morning. So I have a presentation. Again, we stand by what we submitted, and I'm going to basically give a brief overview of some of the key points of the presentation. So let's get started. Here's the property. It is located in the northeast quadrant of the county. It is RDC 12 as staff has presented, and there is currently a single-family attached duplex under construction on the property. It has not been deemed, the permit has not been deemed as incorrectly issued, and I'll go over that. Blow up of the property, circled in red. Again, you can see the construction started of the duplex. The interstate and Rollerson Ranch Road is to the west. US Highway 301 is to the east. The street views, I start with 2019 street views because they are significant. Looking north on Rollerson Road, property is to the right. Looking south on Rollerson Ranch Road to the intersection of 301, property is to the left. And again, Rollerson Ranch Road started out as a two-lane road. 2022 to present, there are significant changes to Rollerson Ranch Road. Significant infrastructure has been installed. This is the duplex in question and how it looks today. And you can see the infrastructure. It was a stop sign and a two-lane and is now a signaled intersection. Why are we here today? We're here to ask for a variance to reduce the rear yard setback from 20 feet to 14 feet and the side yard setback on the north side from 5 feet to 3 feet. What does that look like? It's minimal. It's a minimal intrusion into the setbacks. You can see that shaded in red. It is an RDC 12 lot. We meet the minimum lot coverage. It is also a unique and oddly shaped lot. It is considered a flag-shaped lot. The variance request is not an attempt to build a larger structure. Because of the lot's determination of an irregular lot and an atypical configuration, the structure placement on the approved permit was critical. I'm going to go over the criteria again, and we stand by what we submitted. The practical difficulties and unnecessary hardships are unique and singular to the site. They are a direct result of the building placement being forced back due to the level of service expansion of Rollerson Ranch Road. They are not suffered in common with other property owners located nearby. The typical property site is a rectangular shape. The request ensures public safety, health, and welfare will be protected and substantial justice being done because the infrastructure will not be affected. Let's talk about the project timeline. Again, two projects are going on at the same time at Development Services. The smaller project is being affected by the larger project. In 2021, we submitted the permit. In 2022 of August, the permit was approved and issued. In 2023, construction has started. The footer, the stem wall, and plumbing underground rough-ins were inspected and improved. And construction continued. It wasn't until June 2023 that the project received a stop work order and the placement of the structure was discovered. Again, as I had mentioned, a larger project was going on north on Rollerson Ranch Road. That project was a school, and I'll show that in a little bit. But here's what that approved plan looked like. We exceeded the setbacks on all sides of the property. We had our driveway access off of the existing Rollerson Ranch Road. The drainage field for septic tank was located here. Again, the project was approved. As I mentioned, the school to the north, this is further north on Rollerson Ranch Road. In 2019, project had started. 2020, phase 1. 2021, phase 2. Again, in 2019, no effect to Rollerson Ranch Road here. This is the subject property. But in 2022, significant changes affected our property located here. This information, again, this is the school. Again, it was initially planned to be a high school, middle school, and an elementary school, and the middle school and elementary school is completed. The project underwent a level of service determination. This information was not on file with Development Services. It was not available to our client. And again, we proceeded as the projects were going simultaneously in Excella. They affected each other. So criteria number 2, the property owner followed the code and received an approved permit. He acted on those approved permits and continued his construction. The variance to resolve the reduction into setbacks will not deprive the property owner of his development rights, and substantial justice will be done. Criteria number 3. Request does not interfere with the rights of others. Again, the nearest residential property is 1,000 feet to the north. Property owner and others own the property directly to the east, and it is an industrial warehouse use. There is a 20-foot landscape buffer required to be maintained. Criteria number 4. Variance is in harmony with the Land Development Code and the Comprehensive Plan. It increases the housing stock, provides new housing ownership, is less than the FAR required. It provides a source of housing for the 22 to 28% projected growth of Hillsborough County. The residential development is an infill project, and there are other points. I will go to criteria 5 for lack of time. Variance is resolved. The variance solution is not an illegal act and is not a self-imposed hardship. Again, permits were received and approved. Construction was permitted to proceed. The property owner was forced to relocate the structure due to the expansion of Rollerson Ranch Road. He complied in many ways until 6 months into the project where he was given a stop work order. Property owner has been actively seeking a resolution. The variance at this time is his only source for a resolution. Again, it is minimum as we demonstrated in the shaded areas on the red. Why is Rollerson Ranch Road the main cause of this situation? We received this document from FDOT. You can see that the center line of the road was changed. The center line of the road used to be here. It is now moved over and expands into this direction. They've added 30 feet on either side of that existing pavement structure for infrastructure and roadway. Again, before, during, and after. Our project is located here. You can see that the existing pavement was here. Our challenges are many. We have the property located here in red, the structure rather, and this is what the expansion has done. He has lost his approved driveway access to his property. He is now going to be forced to re-engineer the property, re-engineer how he accesses the property, re-engineer his parking. He cannot enter parking or pavement into the drainage field for the septic tank. This is what the property looks like today. Again, looking from the front, the infrastructure, this is where the driveway would have been. This is what the property looks like today. And again, it has not been a permit that was issued in error. It is on hold with a stop work order. Criteria number 6. The variance will result in substantial justice being done if approved. Why? Because the public benefits are many. Wide sidewalks will remain, the new infrastructure will remain, housing stock will be improved, a family with students may be able to live near the school and walk to school. The infill lot will be developed, and property taxes of the county will increase. However, the individual hardships to my client is also a long list. Under construction for 6 months and then stopped. This has caused a delay for 2 years. Materials and labor costs have increased for 2 years, from 2 years ago to present. Redesign and re-engineering will be required and costs incurred with that. Resubmittals to development services and FDOT will also have to take place. We're looking at maybe 1 year before this project is complete or the applicant receives his CO finally. His hardships and practical difficulties are substantial. Along with that, we have properly noticed. We have received 2 support letters, which I did submit to the record for you in your packet. And adding the property owner to that list, we have a 50% approval rating with no objections. At this time, the property owner and myself are here to answer further questions, and I appreciate staff time and your time to listen to our request. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you go, excuse me, I just want to make sure I understand the chain of events, which I think you laid out well. So a permit was issued for the duplex in 2022.
Correct.
They built, sometime after, they built the footer and the stem wall as it showed on the plan.
Yes, in 2023, construction had started.
And then a school that is located off-site was required to do transportation improvements, and that widened the right-of-way.
Correct.
Therefore, the setback was measured differently than that permit that was appropriately issued back in 2022?
The setbacks were not changed for the property. The RDC 12 setbacks are intact to the property. He had to meet the 20-foot front, 5 foot on the sides and 20 foot in the rear. The level of service expansion required him to push his building back to allow for access. In other words, that driveway access now he has to have on his property. He has to have the FDOT required 20-foot clear visual clearances. That is why the driveway he had approved met those requirements. Now he's got to redesign and re-engineer that to meet those FDOT requirements.
I see. All right. I believe that was my only question. Thank you for
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Don't forget to sign in. All right. Is there anyone in the room or online that would like to speak in support? Anyone in favor? All right. Seeing no one, is there anyone in opposition to this request? Yes, ma'am. While you're coming up, is there anyone else that would like to speak in opposition? Go ahead and come forward, ma'am. All right. Seeing no one, if you could start by giving us your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Martha Moore. I live at 9025 East Navajo. My property is just above them. My question is they're asking for permission to develop this property for residential property, which there's all other buildings on that property area. A lot of equipment, heavy equipment on that area. Tractor trailers in and out of the property for over a year. And that driveway was also being used to access their adjacent property owned by the same people. And they're trying to build 360 apartments down the street by that school, which is going to generate probably 700 cars. But we've got the school that goes from preschool all the way to 12th grade. There's a lot of traffic on that road. So that entrance is very, very small. I know where that they did start that building, and at that time I didn't see any kind of permits, and then they stopped the development, and I didn't know why. But my question is, if they were going to have this as a residential, are they going to use this for themselves, or are they going to sell this property, rent it? What they're going to do? I haven't read all the documents for what they plan on doing with it. But my main question is, if they're going to do it for residential, and the kids do have a walkway, they have a sidewalk to walk up to the school. But with all the heavy equipment that's adjacent to that property, which is endangerment to any children that would live there, that's not pictured in any of their stuff. But the zoning board that's been down there on that property has pictures of all that equipment. So that would be my main question, is they're going to have this for residential. What are they going to do with this heavy equipment sitting on that yard just behind them that faces 301 at Rollerson Ranch Road? That's my objection to it. You know, I know that they've got a right to do what they need to do with their property, but my question is, are they going to use that driveway to filter over to their other property that's adjacent to this property and that's the same owner? Are they really just going to use that driveway for that particular section that they're wanting to build on? It's not very big. And like I said, they've got a right to do whatever they want to do with their property, but we have a say-so as a resident.
All right. We'll ask the applicant when they come back for rebuttal.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. If you could please sign in with the clerk's office. Ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. If you could please sign in with the clerk's office before you go. Thank you. All right. Seeing no one else that would like to speak in opposition, we will go back to Development Services. Ms. Marshall, anything else?
Nothing further.
All right. Then we'll go back to the applicant, who has 5 minutes for a rebuttal.
Yes, thank you. Again, Roberta Meade Curry with National Property Reports. The individual here this evening or today is not one of our required persons we had to notice. And if I'm going to go back to the parcel location, if you can see that, hopefully you can see that. The property in question is here. The property that she abuts is over here, which is almost another 1,000 feet to the north. This is her location. We were not required to notice anyone in that neighborhood. It was outside the range. This property here is owned by the school board. This property here is owned by the applicant and others. This is where the equipment is here. It is a warehouse and industrial property. It does have equipment on it. However, there is a fence and a buffer required to be on this property. This property, I think, is the one she's concerned with for development. It's not under issue for review today. Does not concern this property here today. So what the use is, again, it's going to be single-family attached. The property owner may live there. They may rent it out. They may sell it. So they do have the option to exercise that as their right, as she explained.
And it's one duplex with 2 units, 2 attached?
It's a duplex with 2 units, yes, yes.
All right. Does that complete your rebuttal testimony?
And let me go over the access. She asked about the access. So again, the intent is to continue to access off of Rollerson Ranch Road, but again, we're under the mercy of FDOT now on what they will allow us to do and where we can locate that access. So we've got to work closely with them, and when that's resolved, we will submit back to Development Services.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Then with that, we will close variance 25-1288 and go to the next case.
Next item is item H2, variance 25-1294. The applicant is Red Cap Plumbing, Air, and Electric. The request is a variance to lot development standards. Staff findings will be presented by Michelle Montalbano.
Good morning, Michelle Montalbano, Development Services. The applicant is requesting a variance for the minimum side yard setback for a generator on a single-family property. Per LDC section 60103 I3, mechanical equipment, including generators, may project 3 feet or no more than 50% of the required side yards, whichever is more restrictive. PD 770123 requires a minimum side yard setback of 5 feet. Therefore, a minimum 2.5-foot side yard setback is required for mechanical equipment. The variance request is for 1 foot to result in a 1.5-foot side yard setback for a generator. The property does have an approved variance, the minimum side yard setback for mechanical equipment for air conditioning units, 2 units. And in this variance, they're requesting the same setback for a generator. If you have any questions, let me know.
None at this time. Thank you so much. Is the applicant here? Good morning.
My name is Adam Phillips, representing Red Cap Electrical Plumbing and AC at 7218 East MLK Boulevard, Tampa. We're here to represent my customer, Mr. Vargas, to set a generator on his property. Like stated, we're just trying to meet a setback for an air conditioner that's already in place. This kind of equipment is considered a good life-saving product. You know, adds value, customers. It's just good all-around product to provide. So we're looking to see if we can get this approved so you can have the means necessary.
All right, I understand. No questions at this time. Thank you so much. If you could please sign in. Is there anyone in the room or online that would like to speak in support? Anyone in favor? Seeing no one. Anyone in opposition? No one. Ms. Marshall.
Nothing further.
Sir, you have the last word if you'd like it, but you don't have to take it. Okay. All right. Then with that, we'll close variance 25-1294 and go to the next case.
Next item is item H3, variance 25-1302. The applicant is Yuri E. Castablanco. The request is a variance to lot development standards and accessory structure standards. And I'll present the staff findings. The applicant is requesting to bring 2 accessory structures and the primary structure into compliance. A variance of 0.3 feet is requested to the accessory structure side yard setback for an accessory structure under 15 feet in height and more distant from any part of the principal building on the same lot and any lot abutting said required side yard, resulting in a 2.7-foot side yard setback for the southwestern accessory structure. A variance of 5.8 feet is requested to the side yard setback for an accessory structure located on the side of the principal structure, resulting in a 1.7-foot side yard setback for the accessory structure storage building. A variance of 13.2 feet is requested to the required front yard setback to allow an 11.8-foot front yard setback. And a variance of 5.1 feet is requested to the required side yard setback to allow a 2.4-foot side yard setback. happy to answer any questions.
None at this time. Thank you so much. Is the applicant here? Good morning. Give us your name and address, please.
My name?
Yes, into the microphone.
Yuri Castiblanco, and my address, 8512 Sunbeam Lane, Tampa, Florida,
Thank you, sir.
33615. And I bring somebody to translate because my English is not
Okay.
very good, please.
That's fine.
Thank
If you could give us your name and address, please, too.
My name is Gabriel Salazar. I live in 8503 Sunbeam Lane, Tampa.
Thank you so much. Go ahead with your presentation.
Eh,
I wasn't aware of this, by the way. I just found out that I need to be translated just a moment ago.
Oh, a surprise.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
que yo tengo el survey de hace 20 años donde están las propiedades de las que se están haciendo la variante.
Okay, he's saying he has a survey that was done about 20 years ago that shows the existing sheds, where they're located in the property line.
If we could put that on the overhead so we could see it. Yep. Thank you. All right. If you could orient me, where is the street? Oh, I see, up at the top. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Entonces, estamos aplicando para el mínimo que hay de la varianza porque no sabíamos en esa época, como compramos la propiedad con eso, no sabíamos cómo eran los códigos.
Pero la cultura se hizo antes o después del survey.
No, estaba antes, no sabemos cuánto tiempo atrás.
Oh, okay. He just pretty much said that he wasn't aware that they were placed incorrectly. He purchased the home as is, got it surveyed, and never had any issues until just a few months ago when he got served.
Okay. Is there a date on that survey? When it was done?
Yes, at the bottom. Yep, right down here. Shows when the survey was done.
Is that 2005? Is that
Yes,
what that
September
reads?
8th, 2005.
All right, and what's the date he purchased the property?
¿Cuándo fue que usted compró la propiedad?
We brought in 2007.
Okay,
Mhm.
2007.
2007.
All right,
Yep.
thank you. Go ahead with your presentation. I have a couple questions, but I'll wait till you're done.
Ella quiere que le presente el caso tuyo, exactamente.
El caso es que estamos aplicando porque según las normas, las estructuras están un poco corridas hacia la línea. Entonces
Del
estamos aplicando,
vecino.
sí, para aplicar a la variante. Es eso. A las líneas de todo, sí. A la línea, que
Okay.
está corriendo un poco las propiedades, las estructuras.
Okay. I guess he just found out, like I said before, that I guess his shed is on the neighbor's property line or too close to the property line. So he's requesting permission to allow to stay where he's at,
La variante para la
the variant.
Okay. So I have a couple questions based on what I read in the backup. There's a code enforcement violation that was issued. And it says that on the notice, it says that the first violation is for the construction of 3 accessory structures with electrical and AC installed and an electrical panel changeout. I see 2. Is the third structure the main house? Is that because,
no, the third is the a little storage.
Oh, it's the storage. ¿Tú
It's
tienes?
in the survey.
Porque dice que ya ve 3.
Ah, sí. Este es el survey del 2025. Es esta estructura la nueva. Esa.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna submit the latest survey that was done just a month ago.
okay.
Trying to find the dates. Actually, no, it was done about 4 or 5 months ago. Oh, sorry.
Right, so I see 2 buildings. Those are the 2 accessory structures to the south, I believe, and then a house. Is there a third accessory structure?
Yeah, it is in the middle. Yeah.
Dale punta dónde exactamente el tercero que se añadió.
It's this one. This one is
I see. So is that, and so that was is that what triggered the code enforcement violation, that you were constructing that structure?
No, no.
Oh,
¿Qué causó que te llaman el condado?
They
Fue
say for the
Punta.
back one, this one.
So he said he got called because of the storage that's on that corner right there.
okay.
Pero hicieron que hicieron electricidad, plomería y aire
Yeah,
acondicionado.
that one. But when we broke, that one was like that.
So just to be, so I'm clear, the two, if you go back to your survey from 2005, the two structures to the south are shown on there, is that
Yeah.
correct? All right.
Yep.
But the third structure is not
No,
there.
it's not in the survey. Yeah,
Okay.
that one is the new one.
And when was that built?
That one, like 1 year ago.
1 year ago?
It
And
still
you,
is not done. It still is not done. It's only the structure and some exterior walls.
all right,
Because it's like storage.
okay. And it's not attached to your house,
No.
correct? Okay. And so let me just stop you real quick. Ms. Marshall, that structure he's talking about does not appear to be subject of this variance.
It actually is. Let me.
Okay, maybe that's where I'm confused. Just hold on one second, just to make sure I understand.
See if they can
You want me to
pull
put
the survey
previous-
back up. The new survey.
The current survey.
Just trying to look at.
The new one.
So that's the current. So comparing
So-
to the previous, it looks like this is the
That's not there.
wood storage that's been added that was not on the original.
So
This
this.
one here is the original and the one right here.
So the storage building that's to the west of the primary home is subject to a variance.
So that's the 1.7-foot structure
Correct.
that's labeled storage building in the staff report?
Yes.
Okay, and then
Then-
the variance above that, the 2.7 side yard, the southwestern building, so that's the
The-
building to the southwest,
Correct.
all right? So the
The-
other building, the third building to the east does not need a variance?
Correct. It's meeting the setbacks.
Understood, okay, all right. All right, and let's see. So your testimony that the two accessory structures were there when you bought the property only applies to the southwestern building, but not the storage facility to the west?
Yes.
That was built a year ago and is not finished,
Yeah.
is your testimony. And then the house obviously was there in 2007 when you
Oh,
bought.
yeah,
Okay.
everything.
I believe that's my only questions. Thank you. If you wanted to add anything else, but otherwise, if you want to submit those documents into the record and sign in.
¿Quiere que añadir algo más? Okay. ¿Quiere
All right.
submitir el documento para prueba?
You want to leave it this here?
If
for
you'd
the
like to submit them into the record, that would be helpful.
both survey?
Sí, tiene que firmar ahí. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. If you could both sign in. Thank you. All right, then we will call for anyone that would like to speak in support. Anyone in favor? Seeing no one, anyone in opposition to this request?
Well, I guess support. I'm one of the neighbors. Like I said, I came here to find out what's going on.
Sir, you have, if you're going to speak, you have to be
I'm
back on the
sorry.
record. And give us your name again, just for the record.
Gabriel Salazar, 8503 Sunbeam.
So you live in the neighborhood?
I do. It's in the dead-end street. I'm on the last house on the left.
Okay.
So, yeah. Again, I wasn't aware of what was going on. The letter reflects some type of alcohol use, so I was kind of confused what I'm showing up for. So I can present that later today, but
Oh, there's no alcohol use
I know,
proposed on
but
this
if
property?
you read the letter, it kind of state that, which caused confusion amongst neighbors. In regards to that, where it's located, the issue that he's having right now is, I don't see an issue with it. He's always been decent, never had any issue or problem at all until,
So you're in support of the variance
Yes, ma'am.
for the structures?
I'm
All right.
support, yeah.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it. All right, didn't see anyone in opposition, correct? All right, Ms. Marshall, anything else before we move on?
Nothing further.
All right, sir, do you have anything else you'd like to say before I close the case? Anything else? All right, seems like no. Then we will close variance 25-1302 and go to the next case.
Next item is item H4, variance 25-1311. The applicant is Shane Kerrigan. The request is a variance to development standards for properties zoned RSB and variance to accessory structure standards. Staff findings will be presented by Carol Ann Petal.
Good morning.
Good morning, Caroline Peddle, Development Services. Again, this is variance 251311. The applicant is requesting a variance to the rear yard setback for an existing accessory structure. Per LDC Section 61104B, accessory structures shall meet the primary structure setback of the district if accessory structure exceeds 15 feet in height. The required rear yard setback in the RSB district is 25 feet. The variance request is 16.5 feet, resulting in an 8.5 rear yard setback for an accessory structure, and that'll be to the east property line. Per the findings, the existing structure is 20 feet in height. A code compliance violation is issued for renovations on the existing structure without a permit. There is a permit in review for the accessory structure. I did bring some copies of the project description and variance criteria response. The applicant was provided from zoning help email that the rear or the east property line would be considered a side yard since there's a flagpole to the south, but through an internal discussion, we determined the east property line would be a rear yard setback.
So a rear yard, okay, understood. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Is the applicant here? Good morning. If you could start by giving us your name and address, please.
Yeah, thanks. Shane Kerrigan, 2701 Wedgewood Drive, Plant City, Florida. I work for All Steel Buildings. I typically pull the permits for them. We did not pull a permit on this. As you can see, we put this structure here. This is a brand new canopy we put on there. They run a business out of that facility where they fix trailers and things like that. And basically, there was a miscommunication from our salesperson and the owner of who was pulling the permit. It wasn't pulled. We didn't know there wasn't a permit not pulled until there was a citation issued to the owner. So now we are here trying to, see what we can and can't do. The side yard and rear yard push the setback quite a bit on us, basically making it from a 1.5 foot encroachment to basically 16.5 feet. So we're looking for permission to keep the structure as it is.
I had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't know who prepared, if you or the property owner prepared the
me.
responses?
Yes.
Okay. So variance response number 5 says there are unique pre-existing site conditions that distinguish this property from others in the zoning district. What does that mean? What are those?
I'm assuming it's this flagpole right down there that we're saying where it goes to Nundy, where that is the difference between the setback.
Okay. All right, so that's the unique condition?
Yes, ma'am.
The flag lot, okay.
By the way, it's my first variance, so I apologize if that didn't quite come out the way.
Okay, no problem. And have you had any, or the property owner had any communication with the property owner to the east?
Yes, they have. The property owner has, yes.
And to the request of the variance?
Correct.
And what were their feelings about it?
I think the owner, that was the person that filed the complaint, and my understanding is they were trying to work things out last I spoke to Ms. Sears.
All right. I think that's the end of my questions. Thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much. If you could please sign in. All right. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in support? Anyone in favor of the application? Okay, go ahead and come forward. While you're coming forward, is there anyone else that would like to speak in support? All right. Good morning, sir. If you could give us your name and address.
Good morning. My name's Joseph Even. I live at 11802 Gordon Drive in Riverview, Florida. I am here just in support of the building. I own the adjacent property behind the subject property as well as the neighbor. And just my stance is because there was always been a building, I'd say always been the last 30 years that I've lived in the area and my family's owned the property. There's always been a building there. So I just am in support of it due to, it's there. They just kind of updated the building. Apparently it did cause some issues to the neighbor to try to see if we could get some type of remedy to come forward to maybe that could help the neighbor, to where she doesn't have the issue she has, as well as, the current property owner gets to keep, what they have or what they've always had, just now it's a new updated version, if that makes sense. So that's my stance on it.
All right, thank you so much for coming down. If
Thank
you
you.
could please sign in. All right, seeing no one else in support, is there anyone in opposition? Yes, ma'am. Is there anyone else, while she's coming up, that would like to speak in opposition? All right, go
Good
ahead and give
morning.
us
My
your
name
name.
is Kathy Parsons. I live at 10404 Rattel Avenue. You're the best. This was a picture of my daughter coming home on US 41 in Nunday. The day it was an outer band from the first hurricane. And it's about a mile from the property that I live next to. And then I have all these other pictures of, there's Showtime. These were all taken of September 4th. This is the my back room, which the water had come up inside the back room. Again, you can see where all the water came from the building. And I'm just going to run through it. They're all pictures of water damage. Before, this was the first Hurricane Milton, not Helene, not Milton. I was not home for Milton. I evacuated and I could not get back to my house 2 days after the hurricane because trees and stuff was not, roads were impassable. I've been at that address for 45 years. There's always been a building. I think I sent everybody over pictures of all the buildings. There's been a total of 3 buildings. And I was born and raised in the show business, and also married into it. And my problem is not with the building. My problem was with the 5 existing downspouts that are pointed my way. When I asked Mr. Sears if he could just turn the downspout, he said, absolutely not. They are massive. The concrete, if you can see it, is 8 inches high. So if the building is 20 inches high, there was 8 inches of concrete. We know who the builder of the building is, but we don't know who put the concrete in. This is when I got back from Milton, and this is my back porch, and that's how high the water was surrounding my house. And this is just in December with all the water finally going down. Do I have to show these pictures, or do you all have copies of them
You can
in
submit.
the packet?
You can submit those pictures into the record.
I can't hear you.
You can submit those pictures into the record when you sign in, and they'll be a part of it.
I was told that I already brought in 3 copies of it, but if I could put them on, that's not an issue.
It's up to you. Evidently, the county has them, and so if you'd like to show them now, you're welcome to, but
Okay.
they are in the record.
Am I done with this? This is the first one. This is the first one. This was the original building when I bought from Mr. Cook, and then he, in front of that, he built a pole barn. This is the next picture from 2022. The original building was torn down and just the existing pole barn. And this is last week's picture of just the complete one big pole barn without permits. The company on its website, All Steel Company, All Steel Building, right here, they have a permitting department. Why would you build a building without a permit when you have a department for it? Since I've moved there, since I bought the property March 5th of 1982, right here,
Right there. All right. Let me ask you this. So this building, it's my understanding this building is not enclosed. It's a pole barn, correct?
no, this is the new barn, the new aluminum building that is there.
And there are no sides to that building. Is that correct?
There's-
No sides to that building?
Correct.
Okay. And is it your testimony that there are downspouts, gutters from the canopy that are affecting your property?
Yes.
I understand. Okay.
And also, do you have the, from the investigators, do you have all the pictures up?
I believe I do. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know which flagpole that the man is talking about.
He's talking about the shape of the lot. It's called a flag lot
Oh, okay.
because it comes down in that shape. It's not an actual flagpole.
Because this is the fence line, and that little trailer there's 11 feet between that building and the fence line, and that trailer is 8 feet wide, so there's only actually 2 feet between them. I offered to sell Mr. Sears my property, and I also have 2 people that are interested in it. At what time will I know if I could actually sell my property?
That is not a part of this hearing. This
Okay.
hearing is only for the variance that they're requesting,
Okay,
and that
good.
decision is made 15 business days following today.
Okay. And again, I lived with a building next to me for 40, this is the 46th year. Never had a problem up until the newest, latest building came up with the 5-ounce going on my property. Again, I'm in the show business zoning. I'm a member of the Showman's Club. I have no animosity towards the man. I just ask that he please move the downspouts.
Understood. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. If you could please sign in. Sign in right here. Thank you very much. All right, seeing no one else in opposition, we'll go back to Ms. Marshall. Anything further?
Nothing further.
All right, then we'll go back to the applicant, who has 5 minutes for rebuttal.
I'm willing to move the downspouts next week if that's
Could you
a problem.
give us your name just for the record?
Shane Kerrigan, Wedgewood Drive, Plant City.
All right.
I'm with the builder, and I'm the permit department. I'm the only guy, so I apologize. It's been an internal issue that we did not pull a permit. I apologize, but I can get those downspouts moved if that helps the situation immediately.
It seems like it would. It seems like you should get with her
Parsons, did you do
after.
that? We'll move those down. I'm the builder. We'll move those downspouts if that'll satisfy you.
Okay, well, I went through 2 hurricanes after that.
Okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. You could go
One other
ahead.
thing, I've been living in Plant City all my life. I'm 50 years old. These last 2 hurricanes, only time my neighborhood's ever flooded.
I
So,
understand. I have the list of all 15.
All right, ma'am,
Okay.
ma'am, it's not your, no. It's not your turn now. So, sir, anything
ma'am.
else you'd like to say
No, ma'am.
before we
That was
close
it.
the hearing?
I was trying to-
All right, I appreciate you helping. Thank you very much. All right, then with that, we'll close variance 25-1311 and go to the next case.
Next item is item H5, variance 25-1312. The applicant is Luisa I. Alonso. The request is a variance to lot development standards. Staff findings will be presented by Logan McCaig.
Good morning.
Good morning. Logan McCaig, Development Services, application 25-1312. The applicant is requesting variance to accommodate a front porch on the existing home within the front yard setback. Per section 60101 and 60103I7, front porches may project into the required front yard no more than 10 feet or 50%, whichever is less. In the RSC 6 district, it requires a 25-foot front yard setback. Therefore, a 15-foot front yard setback would be required. They are requesting a variance of 6.8 feet, resulting in an 8.2-foot front yard setback for the front porch.
Thank you so
No
much. I
further
appreciate it.
questions.
No questions at this time. Is the applicant here? Is the applicant here for variance 25-1312? It's item H5 on our agenda. Ms. Marshall, any word on the applicant?
No, we can try to get a hold of them.
All right, so let's hold that. I know there's someone to testify in opposition online, so let's hold that case while we try to contact the applicant. And sir, if you could just hang tight with us, we're going to move forward and come back. All right, so let's call the next case and hold that one. Waiting. Go ahead, Ms. Marshall.
Next item is item H6, variance 25-1335. The applicant is Daryl Kurtz. The request is a variance to lot development standards. Staff findings will be provided by Sierra James.
All right. Good morning again.
Good morning. Sierra James with Development Services. The applicant is seeking a variance to the covered patio setback requirements in LDC Section 60103. The required rear yard within the PD district is 20 feet. Per LDC Section 60103 I-4, a covered patio's intrusion may not reduce the required yard to less than 10 feet. The applicant is seeking a variance of 5 feet, resulting in a seeking a variance of 5 feet, resulting in a rear yard setback of 5 feet. Sorry.
That's all right. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Is the applicant here? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm going to use Daryl Kurtz with Cody Pools and Lightning Aluminum, 6846 North Delmary Highway, Tampa, Florida, 33614. There's a screen enclosure with a section of it having a solid roof, elite roof, kind of a pan aluminum roof on it. Through this permit, of course, the pin drop is a subject property. You can kind of see our pool being built there. Over on this side, kind of getting irritated. Over in this area over here, kind of on that east side is where that solid roof would be. You can see the two adjoining properties have solid roof screen enclosures as well, which kind of fits into the neighborhood design of what's happening on that subdivision. It will stick out a little bit further than those. Kind of an overhead rendering of what it would look like. Over there, again, on that east side is where it's covered at, and there is a outdoor kitchen where the homeowner wants to be able to cook outside, have some air ventilation, and also has some cover. He's stated to me that he has issues with skin cancer in his family. He didn't say that he particularly has them, but he said it runs in his family. He would like to have something outside where he can cook outside, be outside, but not have the sun beating down on him. The property itself, you can see also there's not a drainage issue or a rear. Adjacent property goes right into a retention pond, so any drainage issues would run right into there. You probably know this, but in the original pool permit, when we submitted it, the survey, we show the 5-foot setback down there at the very bottom that we would have for the pool, and also the screen enclosure. And it's a little pet peeve of mine when doing pools with screen enclosures. They do have, screen enclosures are part of the safety requirement for pools. It can be included, doesn't have to be. You can do other things, but in most cases it is part of the safety required for a pool, but it's also a separate permit. So you don't know when you submit for the pool if the screen enclosure is going to be approved. You don't know what kind of zoning might come into it. And you can see we had down here the screen on there, and up at the top is where we stated that there would be a solid roof on there. But I do understand, I've been doing it for many years, that it is a separate permit and you don't know. It's just, again, this is just a clearer rendering than the approved pool plan of where it's kind of going to go. And that's pretty much it.
So that was going to be my question in looking at this. So on that outdoor kitchen permit, the roof is shown on the permit, but the
Yes.
county requires a separate permit. But
Yes.
in terms of making others aware, that roof is there on your
Yes.
approved plan. All right, that was my only question.
Yeah, we try and put that on there on our permits. So we'll put, new in-ground concrete pool, screen enclosure by others. But I understand that it doesn't really pertain to that permit, and hopefully one day it will, that we can combine them and then we know at the same time. But kind of that first showing in our pool process, when we get the pool laid out, that's when the screen enclosure company comes in and then measures it and makes sure, and that's when they apply for the screen permit. So it's kind of a little bit too late, and sometimes we have to make adjustments on the fly, but the homeowner really wanted this solid roof.
All right, understood. Thank you for your testimony. If you could please sign in. All right, is there anyone that would like to speak in support, either in the room or online? Seeing no one, anyone in opposition? No one. Ms. Marshall, anything else?
Nothing further.
Sir, you have the last word if you'd like it. Okay, then we'll close variance 25-1335. Do we have word on the applicant from the last case?
I've not been able to get a hold of him yet.
All right, then, without the applicant, we're going to have to continue this application to the November Land Use Hearing Officer hearing. What would that date be?
It'll actually be the December, because the November is November 17th, so it's less than 30 days from now.
So
It'll
there's
be-
insufficient time for the applicant to notice,
Correct.
to provide the notice to adjacent property owners. And so this will go to December
15th.
15th. I apologize for that. It's beyond our control that the applicant did not show up. So we will continue variance 25-1312 to the December 17th?
15th.
15th, my apologies. December 15th, 2026, Land Use Hearing Officer hearing at 9 a.m. All right. Anything else we need to do with that?
2025.
2025. What did I say?
26.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right. So December 15th, 2025, Land Use Hearing Officer hearing at 9 a.m. All right. Then with that, we will call the last, was that the last case? Yes, the last special use case.
Yes. So brings us to section I, special uses. Item I2, special use 25-1331. The applicant is Anthony Allaire. The request is a special use 2 COP alcoholic beverage permit with separation waivers. Chris Grandlenard will provide staff findings after presentation by the applicant.
All right. For special uses, the applicant goes first. Good morning. If you could give us your name and address, please.
Sure, my name is Anthony Allaire, 5629 Skytop Drive, Lithia, Florida. As indicated in our application, the request is for the waiver, a waiver is for the distance requirement. There is a residential property, the property line is 209 feet away. There is actually a maintenance garage on the other side of that, and then the 250-foot line is actually in the middle of a parking lot, and then the residences are even further than that. We are a new business, family-owned. My wife and I opened it in July. We've been embraced by the community and are looking forward and had some great support, so we're looking to add this to the comfort and the enjoyment of our customers there. So we appreciate you hearing us and appreciate your time.
All right. When you sent your notices out, did you hear back from anyone?
I did not.
All right. Thank you so much. If you could please sign in.
Sure.
Development Services. Good morning.
Good morning. Chris Grandlenard, Development Services. This is for a special use application 25-1331, which is a request for a 2-cop alcoholic beverage permit with a distance separation waiver for the Trifecta Cigar Lounge. It's located at 5629 Skytop Drive in Lithia. The applicant seeks approval to allow the sale and consumption of beer and wine on and off premises with a total wet zone area of 2,234 square feet, including both indoor and outdoor areas. The property is zoned PD and lies within the Res 4 future land use category. The proposed use is consistent with the zoning and surrounding development, which includes commercial, office, and multifamily residential uses. The waiver request pertains to the required 250-foot separation from residential zone property. The proposed separation is 209 feet, resulting in a 41-foot waiver. However, it is important to note that the actual residential units are located beyond 250 feet and are buffered by a maintenance garage, parking lot, and 2 vacant commercial parcels, one of which is slated for future development. Staff finds the request meets the criteria under LDC Section 6.11.11.E3, which allows for waivers where unique circumstances exist and no significant impacts on surrounding and land uses are anticipated. Staff finds the proposed 2-cup alcoholic beverage permit approvable. That answer any questions?
No questions at this time. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Is there anyone in the room or online that would like to speak in support? Anyone in favor? Seeing no one, anyone in opposition to this request? No one. Ms. Marshall, anything else?
Nothing further.
Sir, you have the last word if you'd like it. All right. Then with that, we'll close special use AB 25-1331. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Ms. Marshall, anything else? I see someone online. I was wondering if that was the applicant. And is that, am I right?
It is.
All right. Is the person who wanted to speak in opposition still online? Let me go back to his name. Mr. Gonzalez.
No, Madam Chair, he logged off.
Do we have the ability to contact him? Because he was online the entire time waiting for this, and we continued it to the December hearing, and the applicant had ample notice, and someone called him to attend the hearing.
Yes, ma'am, I'll reach back out.
Thank you. So let's hold that and see, because I don't believe it's fair to hear this case. The applicant was unavailable. We continued it and asked him to, the opposition then disconnected based on that. So I'm willing to hear it if we can get Mr. Gonzalez back, but if not, I'm going to hold with the continuance to December.
Madam Chair, I tried to reach out to him 3 times, and he's not answering.
All right, thank you. Then we are going to hold with the continuance of variance 25-1312 to the December 15th, 2025 land use hearing officer hearing at 9 a.m. Ms. Dorman, I just want to make sure from the county attorney's perspective that you agree with that, given the opposition's inability to testify.
I agree, Madam Hearing Officer.
All right, thank you. Ms. Marshall, any other comments before I close?
No,
All right,
thank you.
then we'll adjourn the hearing for today. Thank you all for your time and testimony.